There are no accidents in the kingdom of God. There are no coincidences when it comes to his divine plan. If you are hearing these words right now, it is because God himself has ordered your steps to this moment. You might think you just stumbled upon this message, but I tell you, this is divine timing. This is a prophetic moment, and something powerful is about to shift in your life. You may have been struggling, waiting, wondering why things haven't changed yet. You may feel stuck, as if heaven is silent. But listen carefully. God is about to open a door that no man can shut. A door so powerful that it will change everything. Stay with me, because this message will reveal what's about to happen in your life. God moves with intention. He is not random, and he is never late. Every moment of delay, every closed door, every disappointment has been leading you to a greater purpose. The problem is that many people give up right before the breakthrough. They allow frustration, fear, and doubt to silence their faith. But God does not operate on human timelines. He is a God of perfect timing, and when he moves, everything shifts instantly. When God opens a door, no one can shut it. Not your enemies, not your past, not even your own fears. Think about Joseph. He was thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, and falsely accused. But every trial was leading him to a door that only God could open, the door to the palace. Joseph's brothers thought they were destroying his future, but they were actually pushing him closer to his destiny. That's how God works. He takes what was meant for evil and turns it for your good. He allows the trials because they prepare you for what's next. God is setting you up. You've been feeling pressure because you are on the verge of something new. You've been experiencing attacks because the enemy knows you are about to step into your promise. But listen, the enemy can try, but he cannot stop what God has already prepared for you. If God has spoken it, it must come to pass. The enemy may delay it, but he cannot deny it. Some of you have been knocking on doors that God never intended for you. You've been chasing opportunities, relationships, and dreams that were not aligned with your purpose. And when those doors didn't open, you felt rejected. But rejection is often God's redirection. The closed doors were not a punishment. They were a protection. God knows what is best for you, and he will never let you settle for less than what he has prepared. Abraham was called to leave his home and go to a place that God would show him. He didn't have all the details. He didn't have a roadmap. But he had a promise. And sometimes that's all you need, a word from God. Because when God speaks, his word carries the power to create the future. God is speaking over you right now. He is declaring that your season of waiting is shifting, that the doors that seemed locked are about to swing wide open. But here's the key. You must be prepared. Because when the door opens, you won't have time to get ready. You must already be in position. The worst thing that can happen is for God to open a door and for you to be unprepared to walk through it. Some of you are about to step into rooms where your name has already been spoken. You don't even realize that God has been working behind the scenes, setting things in motion for you. Just like Esther, who was positioned in the palace at the right time, you are being positioned for a divine assignment. But it takes faith. It takes obedience. It takes a willingness to let go of the past and step into the unknown. God is calling you higher. He is calling you to trust him even when it doesn't make sense. Because when God opens a door, it won't just be an opportunity. It will be a divine shift. It will be something you could never have accomplished on your own. It will be so big that only God will get the glory. Stay expectant. Stay ready, because the door is about to open. And when it does, everything will change. When God is about to open a new door, he doesn't announce it with a loudspeaker. He doesn't send an angel to tell you exactly when it will happen. Instead, he watches how you handle the waiting. He watches how you respond to the moments of uncertainty. He watches your faith, your patience, and your endurance. The reason many people never walk into their destiny is that they give up too soon. They let discouragement rob them of what was just around the corner. They pray and believe for a season, but when things don't change quickly, they assume God has forgotten them. But what if the delay is actually a test? What if God is watching to see if you will trust him when there is no evidence? Faith is not about seeing, it is about believing even when everything in the natural tells you otherwise. Faith is standing on what God said, even when your circumstances say the opposite. The Israelites stood before the Red Sea with an army chasing behind them. In the natural, there was no way out. But God specializes in making a way where there is no way. With one command, the sea parted and they walked on dry ground. That same God is still working today. The doors that seem impossible to open in your life are nothing for him. He can open doors in ways you never imagined. He can shift things so suddenly that what took years to build can change in a moment. But he is waiting for you to trust him fully. There is a reason why God doesn't open the door right away. He is strengthening you in the waiting. He is preparing you for what's ahead. Because when the door opens, there will be greater responsibilities, greater challenges, and greater levels of faith required. You cannot enter a new season with an old mindset. You cannot carry old baggage into a new place. The waiting is not wasted, it is preparation. It is refining, it is shaping you into the person who will be able to handle what God is about to give you. Think about David. He was anointed as king, but he didn't sit on the throne immediately. Instead, he went back to tending sheep. He fought battles in private before he was ever recognized in public. The preparation season was necessary because the palace required a different level of character and wisdom. Had David rushed the process, he would not have been ready for the responsibility that came with kingship. The same is true for you. What God is preparing you for requires a version of you that is stronger, wiser, and more spiritually mature. The worst thing that can happen is for God to give you something too soon, before you are ready to handle it. Many people beg God for doors to open, but they are not ready for what's on the other side. They want the blessing, but they don't want the process that comes before it. They want the platform, but they don't want the discipline that is required to sustain it. But God loves you too much to give you something that will destroy you. He will withhold a blessing if it means protecting you from something you are not yet prepared to handle. This is why some doors in your past had to close. Some relationships had to end. Some opportunities had to pass you by. Not because God was punishing you, but because he was protecting you. You may have been disappointed when certain things didn't work out, but one day you will look back and thank God for the closed doors. You will see how he was setting you up for something greater. When God is about to open a door, he will often require you to take a step of faith before you see the full picture. He told Abraham to leave his home and go to a land that he would show him. Notice that God didn't give him all the details up front. He simply told him to go. Many people miss their open door because they are waiting for all the answers before they obey. They want to see the whole map before they take the first step. But that's not how faith works. Faith moves before the evidence appears. Faith obeys even when the details are unclear. Some of you are in a place where God is asking you to step out. He is calling you to do something that doesn't make sense in the natural. Maybe he is telling you to start that business, to apply for that job, to move to a new place, or to walk away from something that is holding you back. And you are hesitant because you don't have all the answers. But that is exactly where faith is required. You don't need to see everything. You just need to obey the next step. When Peter stepped out of the boat, he didn't know how he was going to walk on water. He simply obeyed the word that Jesus spoke. And as long as his focus was on Jesus, he did the impossible. The door that God is about to open for you is going to require a new level of faith. It will require you to trust him like never before. Because when he opens the door, it won't be by your own strength. It won't be because of your connections or your qualifications. It will be purely by his favor. And when it happens, no one will be able to take credit for it. The only explanation will be that God did it. But before the door opens, God will test your obedience. He will see if you trust him when nothing makes sense. Will you still believe when it looks like nothing is happening? Will you still worship when the breakthrough hasn't come yet? Will you still remain faithful when the process takes longer than you expected? because how you handle this season will determine whether you are ready for the next one. There are some people who have been praying for an open door, but they have not been faithful in the season they are in now. They want a promotion, but they are not stewarding their current responsibilities well. They want a new opportunity, but they are complaining about where they are right now. But if you are not faithful in small things, God cannot trust you with greater things. If you are not disciplined in private, you will not be prepared for public success. God is watching your character in the waiting. Some of you are asking God to open a door, but you are not positioned to receive it. You have allowed distractions to pull you away. You have let fear paralyze you. You have let doubt keep you from moving forward. But today, God is calling you to realign yourself, to reposition yourself for what's coming, to start walking in faith before the door even opens. Because when it happens, you need to be ready. God is speaking right now. He is declaring that your season of waiting is shifting, that the doors that seemed locked are about to swing open, that the opportunities you thought were lost are coming back around. But you have to be prepared. You have to be willing to step into the unknown, to trust Him even when the path is unclear. Because what's ahead is greater than what's behind. What God has planned for you is beyond what you could ask or imagine. So don't give up now. Don't let frustration make you walk away too soon. Don't let doubt steal what God is about to release in your life. Stay in position. Stay in faith, because the door is about to open, and when it does, everything will change. When God gets ready to move, He does not ask for permission. He does not check with your past to see if you qualify. He does not consult with people who doubted you to see if they approve. When God decides to open a door, no one can shut it. No amount of opposition can stop it. No delay can deny it. No mistake in your past can cancel it. The only thing that can stop you from walking through the door is your own fear, your own doubt, and your own unwillingness to move when He calls. There are moments when God is waiting on you to act. You have been praying for clarity, but He has already given you the instruction. You have been asking for confirmation, but He has already shown you the signs. The reason some doors have not opened is not because God is holding them shut. It is because you have not yet taken the step of obedience required to walk through them. The children of Israel stood before the Jordan River, and God told them to cross over into the promise. But the waters did not part until they stepped in. Some of you are waiting for God to move, but He is waiting for you to step. The door is already unlocked. You just have to have the faith to push it open. God has been stirring something in your spirit. He has been whispering to you in ways that are too clear to ignore. You feel it deep down, this urgency, this pull, this knowing that something is shifting. But the enemy wants you to stay distracted. He wants you to stay trapped in the cycle of hesitation. He wants you to believe that it's not the right time, that you're not qualified, that you don't have what it takes. But what you need to understand is that if God has called you, He has already equipped you. If He has placed the vision inside of you, He has already made the provision ahead of you. The only thing standing in the way is your own willingness to say yes. Every open door comes with opposition. Every opportunity God gives you will be met with resistance. Do not be surprised when the moment you decide to move forward, all hell seems to break loose. The enemy does not attack people who are going nowhere. He only fights those who are on the verge of something significant. If you are feeling pressure right now, it is because you are close. If you are facing obstacles, it is because the enemy sees what's ahead and is trying to stop you from stepping into it. But greater is He who is in you than he who is in the world. The resistance you are facing is just confirmation that you are moving in the right direction. There are some doors that will require you to walk away from the comfort of where you have been. It is easy to pray for new opportunities, but are you willing to leave behind what is familiar in order to step into them? Abraham had to leave his home. Ruth had to leave her past. The disciples had to leave their nets. What God has for you is ahead, not behind. Some of you are holding on to things that no longer serve you. You are trying to take old relationships, old habits, and old mindsets into a new season. But you cannot step into something new while clinging to what is old. Sometimes the delay is not because God is not ready, it is because you are not willing to let go. God will not force you to walk through the door. He will not drag you into your destiny. He will open the opportunity, but you must have the courage to step into it. Fear will try to convince you that you are not ready. Doubt will try to tell you that it is too risky. But faith requires you to move even when you don't have all the answers. When Peter walked on water, he had to step out of the boat first. He did not wait for a guarantee that he wouldn't sink. He simply obeyed the call of Jesus. Some of you have been asking God to show you the whole picture before you move, but that is not how faith works. Faith moves first, then the provision follows. You may not feel qualified for what God is calling you to do. You may feel like there are people who are smarter, more talented, and more prepared. But God does not choose based on human qualifications. He chooses based on willingness. When Samuel went to anoint a king, he looked at David's older brothers first because they seemed more fit for the position. But God told him, man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. David was overlooked by people, but chosen by God. Some of you have been overlooked, but God has seen you. People may not have recognized your potential, but God has been preparing you in secret. And when He opens the door, no one will be able to deny what He has placed on your life. Every great move of God requires a season of isolation. Before Jesus started His public ministry, He spent 40 days in the wilderness. Before Joseph stepped into his destiny, he spent years in a prison. Before Paul became a great apostle, he spent time in obscurity. Some of you have been in a hidden season, and you have been wondering why things are taking so long. But what you don't realize is that God has been developing you in the dark. He has been building your character, refining your faith, and preparing you for the weight of what is coming. What God is about to release into your life requires a different level of maturity, and He loves you too much to give you something before you are ready. There are doors that God will open that no one will be able to take credit for. It will not be because of your connections. It will not be because of your education. It will not be because of anything you could have done in your own strength. It will be because of His divine favor. Some of you have been trying to make things happen on your own, and you have grown weary. You have knocked on doors that have not opened. You have pursued opportunities that did not work out. But what you need to understand is that when God opens a door, you will not have to force it. You will not have to manipulate it. You will not have to beg people to see your value. The right opportunity will recognize you. The right people will find you. The right door will open effortlessly. And when it does, you will know that it was God. But do not despise the process. Do not get weary in well-doing. The timing of God is perfect, and what He has for you cannot be rushed. Some of you have been feeling like nothing is happening, but what you don't realize is that everything is happening behind the scenes. Just because you don't see movement does not mean God is not working. Some of the greatest breakthroughs happen in silence. Some of the most powerful doors open when you least expect them. Stay in position. Stay faithful. Stay expectant. When the time comes, the door will open so suddenly that it will shock you. What took years to build will shift in a moment. What seemed delayed will happen quickly. What you thought was lost will be restored. And when it happens, it will not be small. It will not be ordinary. It will be exceedingly, abundantly, above all you could ask or imagine. But you must be ready. You must be willing. You must be positioned to step into it when the moment comes. God is not finished with you. He has not forgotten the promises He made. He is setting things up in ways you cannot see. He is aligning things behind the scenes. He is orchestrating connections, moving people, and preparing opportunities. The only question is, will you be ready when the door opens? Will you have the faith to step in? Will you trust Him even when it doesn't make sense? Because what is ahead is greater than anything you have ever known. And when God opens this next door, it will change everything. There comes a time in your life when you realize that the season you were in is no longer where you belong. Something in your spirit begins to stir, an unshakable restlessness, a divine discomfort that signals a shift. It is not because you are ungrateful. It is not because you are impatient. It is because God is calling you higher, pulling you into a place where the old ways, the old patterns, and the old limitations no longer fit who He is making you to be. That's why certain things no longer satisfy you. That's why what used to bring you comfort now feels empty. That's why relationships that once made sense now feel strained. God is closing one chapter so He can open another, and the transition is necessary. But transitions are not always easy. When God shifts your life, it often comes with discomfort. It comes with unanswered questions. It comes with moments where you wonder if you are making the right decision. The enemy thrives in these moments, trying to plant seeds of fear, whispering thoughts of doubt, convincing you to stay where it's comfortable. He wants you to look at the uncertainty ahead and hesitate. But hesitation is the enemy of destiny. Some of the greatest opportunities God has for you will require immediate obedience. When He says move, you cannot afford to waste time second-guessing. Delayed obedience is still disobedience. There are people right now who are waiting on you to step into your purpose. There are lives that will be changed because of your obedience. You don't even realize the magnitude of what God is doing through you. You may think it's just about your personal breakthrough, but it's bigger than you. The door God is opening is not just for your benefit. It is for the generations that will come after you. The decisions you make today are shaping your future, your family, and even people you have not met yet. That's why the enemy is fighting you so hard. That's why the resistance has been so intense. Because if you step into what God is calling you to, there will be a ripple effect that will shake the kingdom of darkness. Do you know why the enemy tried to destroy Joseph? It wasn't just because of his dreams. It was because his destiny was tied to the survival of an entire nation. The famine that was coming would have wiped out the very people God had chosen to carry His covenant. Joseph's journey wasn't just about him. It was about something much bigger. And if he had given up in the prison, if he had lost faith in the process, countless lives would have been affected. Some of you are in a difficult season and you think it's just about you, but it's not. There is something greater on the other side of this test. There is something powerful waiting for you beyond this opposition. That is why you cannot quit now. That is why you must hold on, even when it doesn't make sense. God does not open doors based on human qualifications. He does not choose according to man's standards. He chooses the unexpected. He raises up those the world has overlooked. He takes the unqualified and fills them with His Spirit. That is why you cannot let your insecurity talk you out of your blessing. You cannot let your past define your future. You cannot allow the opinions of people to limit what God wants to do in your life. When David stood before Goliath, no one believed in him. They looked at his size, his youth, his inexperience, and dismissed him. But what they didn't realize was that David had been fighting battles in the secret place. He had been slaying lions and bears when no one was watching. He had been preparing when no one was paying attention. And when the time came, the door that God opened for him could not be stopped. Some of you have been in a season where you feel hidden, but God is about to reveal what He has been preparing in you. There are moments when God will tell you to move, and nothing will seem ready. The circumstances won't look favorable. The finances won't make sense. The people around you won't understand. But faith does not wait for perfect conditions. Faith moves in obedience, even when nothing looks possible. When the Israelites stood before the walls of Jericho, God told them to march. It didn't make sense. It didn't look like it was working. But on the seventh day, the walls came down. Some of you are in the middle of your march and you feel like nothing is changing. But keep going, keep trusting, keep believing, because in a moment, the thing that looked impossible is going to collapse. The breakthrough is going to manifest. The door is going to swing open. And when it does, you will realize that every step of faith was worth it. God's ways are not our ways. He does not operate on our timeline. There are things you have been praying for, things you have been waiting on, and you wonder why they haven't happened yet. But God is not just preparing the blessing, He is preparing you for the blessing. Sometimes He will hold back what you are asking for because He knows you are not ready to handle it yet. He loves you too much to give you something before you have the maturity to sustain it. That is why the waiting season is not a wasted season. That is why the process is just as important as the promise. You have no idea what God is setting up behind the scenes. You have no idea the doors that are about to open, the opportunities that are about to come, the breakthroughs that are about to manifest. If you could see what God was doing, you wouldn't stress over what isn't happening right now. You wouldn't waste energy worrying about what seems delayed, because when it happens, it will happen suddenly. When the shift comes, it will be undeniable. And when the door opens, it will be bigger than you ever imagined. Some of you are on the edge of something so great that the enemy is terrified of what's about to happen in your life. That's why he's throwing everything he can at you. That's why you've been feeling the pressure, the discouragement, the attacks. Because he knows that if you step into what God has for you, His plans are ruined. That's why you cannot afford to give in now. That's why you must stand firm. Because what God has for you is so much greater than what you are facing right now. The door is opening. The shift is happening. The season is changing. And when it happens, you will look back and see that every trial, every setback, every delay was all part of the preparation. You will understand that nothing was wasted. You will realize that God's hand has been guiding you the whole time. And when you step through that door, you will not just walk into a new opportunity. You will walk into a new level of destiny. Keep trusting, keep believing, keep moving forward. Because what's ahead is greater than anything you've left behind. Everything you have been through has been leading to this moment. The delays, the struggles, the waiting. It was all preparation for what God is about to do. The door He is opening will not just change your situation, it will transform your destiny. Do not let fear stop you. Do not let doubt hold you back. Walk forward in faith, knowing that God has already gone before you. What He has prepared for you is greater than anything you have imagined. This is your time. This is your season. Step through the door and embrace the future God has for you.